All right, I've got another joke for you today. Why can you never trust a math teacher holding graph paper? She must be plotting something. All right, I hope you sort of enjoy my cheesy math jokes. Trying to insert a little bit of humor and maybe something that's not boring into my videos. I really miss teaching you guys live. Talking to myself all day long is kind of starting to drive me crazy. So I hope you appreciate the effort that I'm making at a minimum. All right, what we're going to do this week is review everything we've learned so far this unit, as well as hit a key concept that you will need for geometry next year. So this week is all review, all stuff that you have already seen, gives you another opportunity to practice and demonstrate some understanding by the end of the week. We're going to start off by reviewing graphing our systems to solve them. And this time, instead of using Desmos, which you can still do, I also want to remind you of how we graph by hand. So these first two, I have them in slope-intercept form. As a reminder, slope-intercept is when the equation is solved for y and simplified. So you have a coefficient for x, that's your slope, the number we're multiplying by x, and the number that's being added or subtracted is our starting value. It's also called our y-intercept. So we will start by plotting 5 on the y-axis. Our slope rise over run, or change in y over change in x, because it is positive, our line should rise. So we're going to go up 1, right 3. I like to make as many points as possible because I have a really hard time drawing straight lines. So the more points I have, the more accurate my line can be. We can also go down 1, left 3. If we make both of those values negative, it'll still give us a line that rises. And then we'll go ahead and connect those points. All right, line 2 tells us that on the y-axis we are going to start at -1, and this time our slope is negative, so our line will fall. Make sure that you either go down 2 and right 3, you're only making the 2 negative, or we can go up 2, left 3, and only make the 3 negative. One or the other number can be negative, not both. And then we'll go ahead and sketch the line through those points as well. And as we were plotting those points, hopefully you noticed that they met at that point -6, 3. So we're going to express our answer as an ordered pair, x value -6, y value 3. So the system has one solution, the lines meet once. Looking at our next system, this equation is not solved for y, but it also won't take me a lot of effort to solve for y. So that's what I'm going to do before I graph. If I divide everything, golden rule of algebra, by 2, I'm going to get that y alone. 2 divided by 2 gives me a 1x, and 4 divided by 2 gives me a 2. Now I can start by plotting that 2 on my y-axis. My slope is 1. To turn that into a fraction, it's 1 over 1. So I can go up 1 over 1, basically corner to corner gives me the slope on this one. And I do want to plot all of these points because I don't know where these lines are going to meet. And so the more points I have, the better as well. That'll help me find where these lines meet, if they do, to give me my solution. All right, and the second equation looks like it's in slope-intercept form, except for y isn't exactly entirely all alone all by itself. It does have that negative sign. I'm going to go ahead and organize my work by putting a -1 in front of the y so that I can see I need to divide everything by -1 in order to get the y all alone all by itself. 3 divided by -1 gives me a -3x. And 2 divided by -1 gives me a -2. My y-intercept is -2, so I'll start at -2 on the y-axis. And my slope is also a whole number on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and put it over 1 to give me a rise and a run. My slope is negative, so I am going to fall 3, go to the right one. I'm going to make sure that my line falls because my slope is negative. Only one of those numbers should be negative. I could also instead have a positive 3, rise 3, and go left 1, and there's that point of intersection for my 2 lines. All right, sketching this line. Noticing my point of intersection right here, my lines meet at -1, 1. So I'm going to write that solution as an ordered pair. -1 was my x value, and 1 was my y value. Again, if for a system like this you would want to use Desmos instead, go ahead, but I would like you to practice any of those equations that are solved for y, graph those by hand, just to remind you that is another skill that will be helpful for geometry as well as algebra 2. Have a great day. Take care.